Hello, dear friends of the astrology. Satsanga Astrology here. In this video, I will speak about this fixed grand cross that seems to have us blocked. And it's such a tense energy. We are invited to make changes, and at the same time, we are not able to move yet because it's across to the nodal axis. I will explain everything about it. I will share the chart with you, and we will talk about what this grand cross means for us. So here you have my contact information in case you would like to contact me. I am in Instagram, MeWe, Tumblr. I have a blog that I write. I have a special blog post that talking extensively about the change of the nodal axis to Aries and Libra. They will have the same rulers that now, right? Because Scorpio was traditionally ruled by Mars, and today we consider it ruled by Pluto. And we have Taurus ruled by Venus, but now they will change roles. The South Node will be in Libra, ruled by Venus, and the North Node will be ruled by Mars. So we'll see what it brings. So it is an extensive article explaining everything and also analyzing the ingress chart. So don't miss it. And I also have a Facebook page with a red rose icon. So I will be waiting for your contact, and thank you for subscribing and supporting my channel. So I will now share the chart, and we will talk about those things. So the second part of March, starting May 20th. On May 20th, Mars entered Leo and formed partile, this square to the nodal axis, and Jupiter, and on the other end in Libra, and the last degree of Libra is Haumea. So not only do we have square to the nodal axis, we also have Jupiter conjoining the North Node pretty soon, in a few days. And we have the node, the South Node, approaching the conjunction with Haumea. So we have a lot to talk about that. But I would like to give you some historical information, because last time the Mars was opposing Pluto at 0 degree was in August 13, 14, 17, 78, depending on where on the world you were. Well, people were. So at that time, the opposition was at 0 degree as well. Mars was in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius. It was the starting of the, even though the period of revolutionary ideas started long before, it was a period when peoples around the world started to have independence revolutions, even independence wars, like in the case of the United States, or the colonies at that time, the British colonies in the northern continent of America. So at that time, there were some significant achievements and events. One of them was James Cook crossing the Arctic Circle at 70 degrees, 44 north. That was the farthest that he was able to navigate with the ships, the Resolution and Discovery. So also, the American War was of Independence was already started, and at that time, the colonies joined forces with France, military forces and military operation with France in order to fight the British. So they found out they were able to be independent, and that they thought they had the resources and everything they needed in order to conduct this revolutionary war. So it was the power or the empowerment of the people that helped. Just 2 weeks after, on August 29, 1778, there was the Battle of Rhode Island, conducted mainly by Africans, was the majority, American Indians or native Indians of the North America, and the white colonists. Of course, they were the minority. And there was this battle that was not successful, but it was kind of a motivation, inspiration to continue the revolutionary independence war. But I would like to point out some other things that you may not know. And I was translating from this book, The History of Corsica. See, The History of Corsica. Because I visited some few years ago. I visited Corsica, and I stayed there for a month, and I learned so much about the history and culture and everything. So what I read in this book of history is that in 1735 already, meaning a good 40 years earlier than this opposition, Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, in Corsica, this man called, let's see, I need to find the name, but has written the Constitution of Independence of Corsica, because Corsica at that time was very tired, especially in late 60s, was very tired of being invaded all the time by the British, the Holland, uh, the Italian, the French, the German. They were tired of being invaded and killed and subjugated and submitted. They even have a saying, they could have been invaded but never submitted, because the people of Corsica are very strong in their culture, and they don't let themselves be submitted or subjugated. So, and they had been throughout history so many times exchanged like money, between the different European monarchies. I pay you this debt with Corsica, right? And Corsica was the money they exchanged from one monarchy to the other, paying different debts after different wars. So Corsica was very tired. In 1768, they had a leader called Pascal Paoli, and he invited the youth of Corsica to conduct a revolution against the monarchy of France, because, as I said, they were tired of being exploited and So it was that text of the preliminary, let's say, constitution set the basis and the foundation that ensured the right of peoples to govern themselves, to reject the medieval feudal, monarchic government. And also I had the birth of the notion of nation. And this text also considered the partnerships between states instead of the dominance or subjugation of one over another. So this text uh, advocated for countries and states to have a balanced exchanges and in a kind of democratic way. So this was, in fact, I mentioned this because this was, in fact, the first liberation independence revolution. It was Corsica rebelling against the King of France. So, and with this text that was the base for actually the French Constitution later on and the American Constitution. So those ideals were based on the philosophers of the Enlightenment, like Voltaire, Rousseau, Montesquieu, and all the rest, right? These ideas were shared between French ideas and American desire for revolution. Um, so uh, now we have this opposition at 0 degrees, and it will happen twice. And this is important because the 0 degree of these fixed signs, especially having the nodal axis so close to the 0 degree as well, we will have the next time the opposition will happen, the nodal axis will be at 0 degree. And the opposition will happen at 1 degree 07. So, and that will be on January the 3rd, 2025. So this will happen again, but just consider all the things that are happening right now, especially at the global level, in the financial. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. They both rule finances, debt. In United States, they are talking about the debt ceiling, right? And Scorpio is the 12th house, the self-undoing, the hidden enemies, which are themselves. And they have also this Pluto return in the last couple of years. So the Pluto return on the second house of the treasury, of the values, and the budget, let's say. And so they have this crucial, right? Crucial comes from cross, crucial problem that can either bring down the whole world or just keep us afloat. Because, in fact, this financial system is decadent and it's obsolete and it hasn't worked and needs review and needs renewal. So what happens is that both Mars and Pluto are at the oscillation point. This wobble, wobble, it's the point squaring the nodal axis. And this point is, as I said, oscillation. Why? Because in evolutionary astrology, for example, they say it's a skip steps. Well, that skip step doesn't really explain, or is not a very clear concept. So I will explain what this point is. It's a point of a point where we are not yet leaving behind what is not longer working for us, South Node in Scorpio, right? The codependence, the financial codependence, the astronomical debt that we have, the codependence on others for our function, like mortgages and debts and loans, and all kinds of problems with the tax system. And this is not only American, it's not only from the United States, it is affecting the whole world. What happens is that the economic system that started with the conjunction of uh, Saturn and Uranus in Taurus, Saturn and Uranus in Capricorn, sorry. Saturn and Uranus in Capricorn in 1988, so that defined the physical, how we deal with the physical, with the material, with the resources and corporations, etc. So the Saturn and Uranus conjunction in Capricorn started. In reality, it was not in Capricorn. It happened right before entering Capricorn at the very end of Sagittarius. And what happened with the Sagittarian way of dealing with this economic system is that the expansion of globalization. And the globalization has been taken to such an extreme that it's now presenting the problems of exaggerating, the problems of so much financial interactions among interests, different countries' interests, different corporations and global corporations' interests, that it has become so complex that is unsustainable. So things like transportation for thousands and thousands of miles for I don't know, kiwis or lettuce or bananas. It's ridiculous how we are investing, how much we are investing the energies, fuel, and for the transportation of merchandise. How much is invested in that? So practically the great percentage of price comes from the use of our energies, Scorpio, how we share energies. So this is very important to consider in the light of having Mars and Pluto square the nodal axis, because we are not ready to leave behind that past, that way of doing things in the financial system, but we're not either ready to embrace autonomy, self-sufficiency, and stability that Taurus is inviting to. So the sign of Taurus, even though it's a fixed sign as well, but it requires stability. It requires to trust, to rest, to leave behind the intensity of the sharing and having to deal with all those complex things that involve the Scorpio sign. Taurus is the simplicity of the autonomy and self-sufficiency. Taurus requires that we work for what is worth, and that we have this same ability to provide for ourselves the energy that we need is the sign of feeding ourselves of food and the energy that we require to sustain life. So we require a same amount every day, and to be able to receive that same amount in our bodies in order to survive every day. So it is a sign that requires stability, whereas Scorpio is one day is too much and is too intense, and we are one day we have this communal uh, uh, debt that we cannot sustain, and another day we are okay. So it is in a sense a sign of drama, and it's not drama in the same sense that Leo is drama. Leo is drama for the self show, right? But this drama is more psychological, more uh, emotional, right? Anyways, and Pluto is requiring our transformation of the social environment, right? Mars is requiring the shake and the action of authorities, people of responsibility, Leo, right? Especially heads of state, for example, or unipersonal governments. And Pluto is requiring the transformation of the collective, of society. And the collective is not yet ready to, as I said, walk away from this dependency, this codependency, but is not yet ready for self-sufficiency in Taurus, as I said. So this is how I see this Grand Cross. And there is another factor which will come to play exactly when Jupiter joins the North Node. Let's see if I can find the date, but it's pretty soon. Jupiter is in June, um, is on the 1st of June. Exactly. So, 1st of June, Jupiter joins the North Node and will amplify everything Taurus. It will give this boost and expansion at 3 degrees of Taurus. The 3 degrees, or is oh, and the moon as well. Hmm. The moon will conjoin Jupiter as well. So it's not only Jupiter. This is great. The moon joins Jupiter at 1 a.m. and Jupiter joins the node, the north node at 3 degrees 37 at 7:43 p.m. Central Time. All the times that are central here. So as you see, this is the exaltation point of the moon as well. So we will have an emotional day, 1st of June, to start the month, like that. And the expansion of this need to be self-sufficient, autonomous, independent in our resources of food, energy, and in the finances. So Jupiter will expand the moon will give the emotional boost with the North Node, So it's going to be pretty intense day, I would say. And at the same time, it continues squaring Mars and Pluto. And we will have this opposition, Mars Pluto, several times, 15 times for the next 20 days. It will happen in April 2025 at 6 degree 49 no, at 3 degrees 48, sorry, at 3 degrees 48, and October the 3rd, 2026, at 3 degrees 06, and September 28 at 6 degrees, and so on. So the same as historically between 1778 and 1798, 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, saw the independence revolutions around the world and the birth of nations as a concept and physical as well. And at that time, the nodes for a time were uh, reversed. The north node was in Scorpio and the south node was in Taurus. So that was especially around the time of the French Revolution. So the Bastille Day and all that. So right now, then we have this tension in the sky that we all feel because these fixed signs are the pillars of the world, as they say, since it provides the stability, right? The pillars, the stability pillars of the world. And we are under this pressure. So I also wanted to go over some other aspects for the week up until the 27th is what I have. So we have today then the continues this square. It will be an orb. I give about 8 degrees orb for oppositions and less for maximum 3 4 for the squares. But since these are planets that are kind of slow, it could be considered a little bit a wider orb. So the sun just entered Gemini, so we start a month uh, very attentive to the news, right? Learning new things, and also it will increase our need to communicate. We will have a lot of exchanges in emails, messages, conversations with neighbors and friends and siblings, etc. And the moon starts today also in Gemini, and she is sextile Aries, and then it will be squaring Neptune. So it will be a moon, a very active moon. On Monday, let's go to Monday. On Monday, the 22nd, this is a chart for midday or noon in Central Time. As you see, the Grand Cross continues, so it's going to be the whole week and probably until the first week in June. Here, the Sun sextile Mars and the Moon already entered Cancer. We will be focused on looking for safety, looking for being nourished, and it's approaching the conjunction with Venus. And we have it is a favorable moon. in the sense that it is trining Saturn. So it is a very stern moon, serious. We are taking responsibility in our daily routines and such. And there is also, of course, Mars will be now squaring Jupiter exactly. So it is an intermediate day where, as I said, the energies of the new moon continue. The new moon is barely seen in the sky, so you can start planning and putting things into action very slowly regarding what you would like to have started with a new moon at the end of Taurus, right? Which happened on the 19th. So it's very important to be careful with the square Mars Jupiter because it could be dangerous for people who are working with machines, heavy machinery, and people who do, for example, heavy work, physical work. They could be prone to accidents, and if they go beyond, and they because Jupiter exaggerates and uh, of course Mars in Leo wants to show off the force, and sometimes it could go wrong because of the square to Jupiter. Too much, when there's sometimes too much is not good. And so people who do exaggerated efforts in sports, for example, they could be injured. So be careful. I will continue just with some choices of transits. Mars continues. The perfection of the square is at midnight, around midnight between the Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday, the 23rd, we have a happy day. The moon joins forces with Venus, even though they are squaring Chiron. So Venus also tends to exaggerate things, so be careful not spending too much for the home and family and such, because that could hurt your purse. So that's the message for the day. So just keep spending moderated, and also ambitions for um, any any events in your family. You need to be realistic in order not to incur in problems. So then I will go to the 24th, which is Wednesday. We have still the square. You see it here, right? The grand square. So Venus is squaring Chiron. So any financial exchanges or even romantic exchanges in the family may go wrong somehow, or may not be satisfactory. So the emotions could be extreme as well, and in the end, they could end in too much assertiveness, emotional assertiveness. We have the moon in conjunction to Mars, activating the grand square as well. So I also wanted to point out that Haumea, in the very end, anaretic degree of Libra, is representing the rebalancing of the Haumea represents the ability of nature and of life to regenerate itself. And the energetic degree in Libra is requesting balance, is requesting, okay, I gave so much, says the earth, and life and nature is telling us that they have given us so much, and now they need to be given the opportunity to regenerate, uh, to regain the force and the energy in order to revive. But unfortunately, the behavior of humanity, how we conduct our lifestyle, we are not allowing nature to regenerate. We just take, and we don't let her grow. We don't give her the time. We have seen this reflected during the lockdown and the pandemic, how nature was reclaiming spaces, reclaiming things, right? And that's what nature needs, to have the respite, to have the time to regenerate in order to give us more, right? We need it. And we're not giving it the space that she needs. So this conjunction Moon Mars could reactivate the grand square, and it could have a day of aggression, especially emotional reactions that create conflict, uh, rage, and even conflicts, armed conflicts, and violence, and injuries, unfortunately. So the next day, on the 25th, we have the moon square the now direct Mercury. And I would like you to remind you that it's at 9 degrees 45 minutes. And Mercury has traveled this degree 3 times already. This is the third time. First time was April 11. Second time was the 5th of May, retrograde. So you may see reverberations or reminders of those days, what happened those days. So pay attention of what this moon is revealing in square to Mercury. And later on, the moon will trine Chiron, so it will be kind of a healing episode, emotional healing. So you have the opportunity to do that. Um, Next day, on the Friday the 26th, the moon will be void of course for 20 hours, almost the whole day. So just chill out. Rest, relax, go to meditation, do meditation, yoga, and focus on the family, because Mars will be at exactly the point of oscillation, or the wobble, 3 degrees exactly square the nodal axis. So this is a definite moment where we have to decide, are we going to let go? Are we going to embrace the self-sufficiency, or are we still codependent, right? So with the moon void, of course, emotions are raw. So we may react more from the subconscious, because the moon here obeys to the power of the sun. And so the sun is in Gemini. So this moon may react speaking, maybe bursting some truth, some selfish motivations, or it could be a day of saying what I really, really, really feel in my heart, right? So the emotions could be liberated. Moon void, of course, acts as a free moon. She doesn't have an influence except the rulership, which is the sun. So, and it's also it's approaching also the first quarter square. So it is time to act, to do something that we started at the new moon. So be careful with selfishness, exaggerated selfishness in communications, and don't try to just attract attention, dramatic attention. Leo is always trying to attract attention and be center stage. So those are some things that this moon can bring. So generally speaking, we will be under pressure as like a cooking, pressure cooking pot that we are dealing with this week, and it's going to be intense, that's for sure. So prepare, practicing flexibility. You know, if you have planets in the mutable signs, use those instead of the Grand Cross. That will help. So I wish you the best, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.